Hey guys! It's been a little over 2 years since I put together my Ikea cabinet terrarium. Ta-da! I thought I would do a little 2-year update. So if you felt inspired to put one of these together, you can kind of have a better idea of what actually goes into the maintenance of these. Like I said, I've had mine set up for 2 years now. No issues. Well, next to no issues. We'll get into that in a little bit. I love my terrarium. Ryan also loves this terrarium. I've mentioned moving it downstairs into my plant room, and Ryan's like, no, 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 we're keeping it upstairs. That's my favorite planty thing of yours. And anytime we have somebody over to our house, it is a conversation starter, okay? It is just so cool looking. Like, how often do you walk into somebody's house and they just have a 6-foot tall terrarium? Not very often. I do have some bugs living in here. I have flatback millipedes and dairy cow isopods, and also snails, but those just ended up in here on their own thing. I didn't put those in there intentionally. And springtails, of course. Duh. Usually my bugs just eat what we eat. So like if we have a vegetable or whatever my kids don't finish, I'll just throw in here. Today we're having peas that were left over from dinner last night. I'll also occasionally put shrimp flakes in there for protein, or even right now I have some eggshells in there. The other big maintenance-y thing is wiping down the glass. First I'm gonna wipe, oh my gosh, this is kind of embarrassing, but it's been a minute since I wiped it down. I do try to clean the glass every 2 months, but you know, sometimes it gets a little bit out of hand in here really quickly. So every 2 months should be enough to keep it under control. But yeah. I have this BioOrb high gloss polish, which I'm gonna use to wipe down the rest of it. I like this because it's safe for my bugs. It repels dust and fingerprints, which is nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a really good spray down. You could also use like white vinegar, I think. Probably diluted white vinegar to wipe this down. Guys, I'm telling you, one of the issues. The weather stripping on this door always pops off. I need to glue it back on. Should I just do that right now? Yeah. I'm gonna use Gorilla Glue. Wow, that was such an easy fix. Outside of the debris that gets on the door that sticks to the door somehow, I do end up with, since it is so humid in here, I do end up with water droplets, especially down at the bottom of the glass. It does get really streaky if I wait too long, like I did this time, between wiping it down. Wiping down the insides of the doors is one of the more annoying maintenance-y things. It's not like a huge deal, and it's very doable, and every time I do it, I'm like, wow, that did not even take long at all. I always just seem to put it off for whatever reason. I do end up with, where'd it go, like little snails that crawl on the outside of the glass, but I just throw them back in even if they're dried up, because then my isopods can eat their shells, and that's a calcium source. And then I need to clean the inside of the glass. You can see it's kind of like foggy. Oh yeah, it's definitely built up at this point. That's not just humidity. I can't even really see my isopods, which do most densely live down in this area. It's really hard to see them with this film on the glass, so I do have to wipe that down. And this is by far what gets messiest the fastest. Again, just with the humidity and stuff, I think it's a little unavoidable. But wiping the glass makes such, you see that? Like such a big difference. Especially now that my plants down here are getting big. Like the bigger my plants get, the harder it is to keep this thing clean, is what it's coming down to, I think. That is my realization right now. Oh, that looks so much better. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm glad I'm finally getting around to doing it. It is so satisfying afterward when it's all nice and clean. Something I love about this glass panel that I wasn't anticipating being like a big selling factor of adding this for me is the isopods actually will make little like burrows, and I can't see any of them right now. They're definitely more active at night, but sometimes I can see them crawling around down here through their little tunnels they've made, which is really fun and cool. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that part of it for sure. First most frequent thing I have to do is feed my bugs, of course. Second most frequent thing is water my plants. Not so much at the bottom of the terrarium because that stays very, very humid, and where it's far away from the warmth of the grow light, it doesn't dry out as much down here, but definitely up at the top, I'd say I'm spraying this down once every 2-ish weeks, and I just use my pressurized sprayer. I'm gonna have to bring you closer. Up here, the moss is very dry, and my gosh, are the plants getting really tangly. I do use fish tank water or secondary water for this, and I do think it has helped my plants grow a little better. So yeah, I'm just gonna wet everything. One of my big regrets on this build is that I did this side so like lumpy and that it had a lot of jut outs, because I can't get plants to grow right here. I can't. I've tried so many different plants on the sides here and they just won't grow. I had an idea in mind that I wanted plants to like grow up this thing and kind of, I don't know, like kind of coat that, I guess, with their leaves, but plants just don't grow very well over here because those lumps block a lot of the grow light. So I do regret putting them. I think they would have looked a lot better if they had been moved, shifted more like toward the back corner a little bit. If I had done that, I would have been able to see the plants that are growing in there a lot more clearly. So that is my one build out regret. Other than that, I really love this thing, and I haven't had any issues with like leaking or anything like that. I guess onto the next like little maintenance-y thing. This side, the plants are getting a little bit wild, so I need to trim them back. I put some philodendron verrucosum and bipenifolium up here, and those are the ones that are getting really like stemmy over here. So I don't actually love these plants. I much prefer the smaller like begonias, kind of terrestrial plants that appreciate a lot of humidity but stay a little more compact growth wise. So I'm going to trim all of these. I'm gonna pull out this clover. I did put this in here intentionally, but I think that's contributing to the mess. So maybe it's time for that to go. Yeah, I'm just like not loving this. I think I'm gonna take out the philodendron verrucosum. Or most of it anyway. I don't even know what I'm cutting out right here, but I know I don't like it. Oh, it's the philodendron. So I guess if I were to make some plant suggestions in here, like my number one suggestion would be don't put viney plants like this because they get a little rambunctious. While we're here, I'm gonna trim this picturata. Is that what this begonia is? Cute. Oh, look at that pink fuzz. Isn't that cool? And then I'm gonna pop it back in. Whoops. And I'm gonna pop it back in the moss just next to mother plant here. I grabbed a few teeny tiny little plants from my grow tent of some things I would like to see grow a little better. I've got a little Libicea species Riau. So cute. No ID begonia, 4 Syngonium rayi nodes. Libicea I'm gonna pop in over here. Here, put the begonia. Actually, I need to put it in underneath the moss more. Just like that. So teeny tiny. But hopefully next year when I do my 3-year update, that's growing in a lot better. And why not? Let's just pop these other nodes. It's just a little sparse here. A little sparse. So something needs to happen. Something needs to grow. Why not another pavonina there? Oops. I was gonna say perfect, spoke too soon. Cool. Here's my 2-year-old cabinet. Trimmed, I did just trim it. I need to wipe the outside now. There are marks on the outside of the glass, especially in this area. And I hate to say it, it's not even my kids that did that. It's me pressing my face against the glass. Yes, I could sit here all night and watch my bugs eat the food I put in, for real. It's like a lava lamp. How we were speaking about regrets, I thought of another one. When I built mine out, I painted the inside of the glass. As the foam dried, it has pulled the paint off of the glass. It does look a little bit unsightly, which is why I've added plants on the sides here to help hide that. So I do recommend painting the outside of the glass. Now that I have the plants here and it's positioned kind of kitty corner here, it doesn't bug me. So I haven't done anything to fix it. But if you're about to build yours out, paint the outside of the glass. Here's a side-by-side view of my terrarium when I initially put it together 1 year ago, and then also just now, 2 years in. So you can see how this has changed over the years. This year, I will be focusing on filling in the moss a little bit more with plants. It's not super noticeable, but the substrate and moss that I pinned down onto the expanding foam has kind of fallen off over the years, and I either need to pin that back in place or get some plants to grow to help cover it up. It doesn't bother me really, but I would just love for this to be a little more full in some of those bare, naked areas. Doesn't that just look so cool? I love it. I love it. I'm so glad I decided to do this. That is it for this one. I will see you next time.